Welcome to Navigating Neurodiversity, the podcast where two moms, Natalie
and Carly, share the real, raw, and often beautiful journey of raising neurodivergent kids alongside their neurotypical siblings.
Here we trade perfection for connection, celebrate differences, and create a space filled with hope, inspiration, laughter, and a whole lot of heart. So grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's navigate this together. Funny you talk about reflection because I have another funny story about Mace. The other day, I was trying to get him to clean up his room and because he just has his animals and his stuff everywhere. So I was like, come on, Mace, let's clean up your room. And he was like, oh, go downstairs, Mama, go downstairs. I know he doesn't want to clean up, but he wants to go downstairs and play. So that's awesome. He's grabbing my hand and go downstairs, Mama. So he's pulling me downstairs. I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? So he turns the lights on and he goes, oh, cool, downstairs. And then he starts slowly sneaking back away to go back upstairs. Like he was literally sales pitching me into coming downstairs so that he could go back upstairs and do his own thing. I just thought that was so funny. He was like, it was like a little salesman, but the reflecting is that I feel like sometimes I'm sales pitching them or, exaggerating things like, oh, cool. Oh, yeah, that's what you want to do. He was like, he turned on the lights. He got the ambiance. Oh, cool. Basement.
So he was trying to trick you.
He was.
So Sydney, my 4-year-old, she will be like, oh, Mom, can you go in the other room for a little bit?
How do they know already?
And I was like, why does she want me to go in the other room? She's clearly up to something, and she'll try to trick me or think she's tricking me, right? So, wow, he's good, man. But he's trying to change your mind. Like, oh, you could be busy down here and you could have fun down here. And I can go do my own thing.
Well, yep. Yeah. But it was like he was reflecting. He was just saying what I was saying, and he gamed me. I'm like, you can't play the player.
That's funny.
I was duped for a quick second.
Hilarious.
Yeah. How many times do you sit just with all your kids and go, I see that, I see me in him, or I see my husband in him? I think that's such a cool thing about just being a parent in general. When he can hike for miles and miles and not break a sweat. And that's exactly like my husband. He's born to be outside, right? And Frankie, oh no, he's complaining every second. He's hot, he's sweating. And I'm like, okay, get that for me. Or he's worried about, okay, be careful, Mom. And I'm like, okay, that's me. Or Mace, when he's eating something, he scrunches up his eyebrows when he's chewing something. And he's just scrunch. I go, I do that. Isn't it just the coolest thing? Seeing traits of you, traits of your husband. In our case with autism, it's definitely not a one size fits all. Any neurodivergent situation is not, because they're having our personalities, our characteristics.
They are our reflection. I was just thinking about this the other day. Parents in general, we all have insecurities. We kind of see within our kids weakness or strength. And we decide to love our partner, and then we have this amazing gift that we are given of a child. We are all faced with these authentic versions of ourselves. I say faced with because we're referencing it is a reflection. And I think when we have kids, we all get to really learn who we are through them, which is really beautiful because maybe there's some trauma from our childhood or whatever it may be, and we're dealing with this stuff and we just kind of packed it away for a little bit until we're older and they're like, oh my gosh, where'd this come from? And now you're unboxing it and then you're seeing it in your kids. We're all going through something, neurodivergent or not.
Yep. I saw Frankie, we were trying to get him to clean up his toys, kind of theme of the show here. But the other day, Grandma was over and she was helping clean up and do some laundry and stuff. And she must have mentioned her back hurt or something. So when I was trying to get Frankie to clean up his toys, he was like, I need you to help me because my back hurts. And then we were like, oh, really? Because you're 6 and you're limber and you could do a back bend. Your back hurts. And I got it on record and I showed my mom. We were just cracking up because it's he just is using that ammo right back at us. And so, yeah, we got to watch what we say here. But with the reflections and mirroring things, well, speaking of that, it sounds like Mason does a lot of scripting. He definitely gets into his shows, and there's a fine line between loving his shows, but then also listening to the same one on repeat. I mean, it is zoo animals, A to Z. Oh my gosh, if I don't wake up in the middle of the night singing the A for alligator song, right? So the good news is that I tried to take his strengths and his characteristics and his personality and find what he's good at and then build it into his life to evolve it more. So, for example, all his scripts, all his shows, he memorizes things. So when we're trying to talk to him about stuff, sometimes he's with you, but sometimes he's kind of just scripting his shows and having his little happy life, looking out the window, thinking about what he saw on Sing 2. So what I did was we got him into a musical, a play. I got him into the Park District. They were very good at getting help.
This was so amazing, and I wish I could do something like that. That was so awesome.
Yeah, he loves school, so we called it music class. So I try to reference things like OPE for bike riding lessons or music class for the play. So we went weekly to music class, and he would learn the songs and the dances. And then finally it was time for the production, and he killed it. It was he did so good. He was so happy and doing the dances and do-si-don with his brother, and they were little munchkins because it was like a Wonderland theme. And he loved it. And now I've got him in a Moana one in a few weeks. So I think if we just play off their strengths and what they're good at, what they like doing, I think that they could really excel, and it keeps them from being bored. I think when he gets really bored, he gets stuck on the repetitive stuff. And I know, believe me, we are all exhausted with keeping our kids busy, but it really, when he gets really bored, he starts to stim very loudly. He'll just play the song on repeat. And so it is just a constant challenge to continuously try to evolve the situation, try to turn it into something new.
Keeping our kids busy is so incredibly difficult. And it makes me really wonder what's truly going on underneath the surface. I think that our kids are existing in a environment in which they are absorbing a lot more than somebody who is neurotypical. I think most moms, dads, caregivers would agree that there are things that they pick up on that we don't pick up on. Like, I know when Nolan is around me, he knows my tone. Okay, so like everybody knows I've got 3 other kids and they're feral at times. I'm like in the teaching boundaries zone right now, which is like very hard for 2 boys and a girl. Okay, so like Nolan has a different boundary situation. But the other 3, it's like I am teaching them boundaries, and it's very difficult because, and this is a whole other question, like how do you discipline, for lack of a better term, your neurodivergent child versus the siblings, right?
Right.
Like, is the comprehension of what's going on the same, and you don't know because,
Right.
there's so
And
much.
are you, can the other siblings tell that you're a little bit more lenient with the neurodivergent kid? And, that is wild that you bring that up, because that's one thing that I swore I was not going to do. I had something going on when I was young, and I was the miracle child who survived. And then here comes my sister, 5 years younger than me. Well, I'm beating my dad on the head with the bars that keep a window open and not getting in trouble. And, I learned to become quite a spoiled brat because I knew I could get away with everything. And how did she feel being the younger sister of someone who never could mess up or never could do wrong? So I, ironically, then have a child diagnosed with something, and then I have a younger child after that, and I swore I was never going to make him feel any different because, we're too worried about Mason, and we don't, we're ignoring him, or we're being more harsh on him. But the reality is,
You're trying to keep the balance,
Yeah.
like the fairness
Right.
in the sibling relationships.
yeah, but the
It's
reality
hard.
is it's not fair. And you have to have those deep-hearted talks with your neurotypical children, because they just don't get it. Hey, Mason didn't have to clean up. Hey, Mason gets to sleep in your bed tonight.
Yes.
So it's definitely a challenge.
That's interesting that you bring up this sleeping in the bedroom, right? It's like That is, I felt so much mom guilt for my kiddos when they're still kind of going through it, but they understand. I don't know how they do, but they understand. But like Nolan, every single day since he's ever had his own bed or not been in a crib, he will come down the stairs and he will come to our room no matter where he's at. You know, he's in his bed. We put him to bed in his room, which is very interesting that this is coming up because super cool thing happened in the last couple days. So Nolan goes to his bed at night. We put him to bed in his room because we think that's very important for trying to help him be independent. But then every single night, usually around 10 or 11 or 12, we will get a little visit while my husband and I are sleeping. He comes in the room, but we have a bed now set up on our couch in our bedroom. So he comes down and he doesn't bother us anymore. He just goes right onto that couch. He has never once missed doing that. So, and he's
his
9
routine now.
Yeah, he's 9. So I recently implemented a specific supplement that helps with neurological calming. And now always research your own information. This is not medical advice or anything. This is what I do for my son. I'm not a doctor or a therapist or anything. Do not take my advice, go to a pediatrician. So I started him on L-theanine, and it calms the nervous system. And what I've noticed is he sleeps later and longer now, which is wonderful. So I waited for that to happen. And then just this week, we decided to move Henry into Nolan's room because Henry is becoming much more aware of what's going on with Nolan, and I thought it'd be like a nice camaraderie type of thing. Why has not anybody made a show that's called The House or The Home or The Stay-at-Home Mom? Because I feel like I'm on candid camera and like my kids come in and say stuff and I'm like, I want to look at the camera like they do on The Office and be like, are you seeing this? I mean, is everybody observing the craziness that's happening in my house right now? But he's like, I want to be an assistant parent. And I was like, what? And I don't know where that came from. He was for like a tiny, tiny bit, and then it was revoked because clearly he's 7. But anyways, so we moved Henry into the room, and he likes to do flashcards with Nolan. He likes reading a book to Nolan, and he likes to feel like he's important, and he is important. So now we have those two in the room, and that combined with changing his supplemental routine, he doesn't even come down until like 4.
Okay, I was just
4
gonna
o'clock in the morning
say.
now. I'm like, holy cow! Does he really sleep 8 hours before he wakes up?
That's awesome. What does the L-theanine have in it, or what's the scoop with it? I'm not too sure about how it all works.
L-theanine reduces like anxiety and stress, and it promotes like relaxation by increasing like GABA. So GABA, serotonin and dopamine are incredibly important for feeling good. I always have this like incredible empathy for parents out there that are dealing with kids that are angry, aggressive, just sad or emotionally just like overflowing. They can't control these outbursts.
Do you think they're chasing that dopamine feeling?
I think their bodies are not processing it properly. I think kids across the board in America probably have a dopamine issue. 1, because of screen time, and 2, because of the
quick.
Yeah,
Everything's
like
fast.
everything's super fast, and like in real life, it's not as fast as your tablet. It's not as fast as the cartoons they now develop. It's like, oh, scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, action, action, action. That is not how the world works in this realm. Like, okay, the digital realm, yeah. The external realm, no. Right? We got to slow it down, be present. And we were talking about that the last podcast. It's like we need to slow it down and be present. But the L-theanine calms the nervous system. It's basically like a buffer, and it works immediately. You could have anywhere from 200 milligrams a day, like and below for like a kid. But like as soon as you give it, it's very, very calming. Now, I highly recommend to like do your own research, to go to your pediatrician or your functional naturopath or your functional doctor and ask them how much, or ask them if that would be beneficial. Because to me, and like this is not the only supplement to improve your kid, right? To improve their experience. There are so many.
Yeah.
And you got to know what's going on with the rest of the body.
we did extensive blood work with a alternative medicine provider, and she was like, we're going to look at the blood, and we're going to look at like everybody else, because I do it too. Interestingly enough, he was low in vitamin D. His ferritin, his iron stores were very low.
Vitamin D is huge.
Even though it was the middle of summer. So that was interesting. There were some really simple drops we got him on.
So vitamin D, and this is the kicker, I'm going to tell you. So I was looking at some old pictures of Nolan, and Nolan has always dealt with immune system issues, and he was just always sick. He'd always have a sinus infection, he'd have sinusitis, he'd be coughing, he'd have allergies, and it was weird because I was a crazy mom right from the get-go, because when you have birth trauma, because Nolan had multiple brain bleeds because of the labor-intensive thing that he went through. He was in the NICU, and they often say that kids that are in the NICU, they're going to have like a much more sensitivity to their environment because they are in a very, very sterile environment when they're in the NICU. So I'm thinking, okay, he's got all these like things going on because he's been in the NICU. He was in the NICU when he was a baby. But really, in actuality, I've asked doctors that are friends of mine that when you do vitamin D is not absorbed properly unless you have vitamin K with it. And most of the doctors out there have not told people that you need to have vitamin K with it. And on top of that, if your kids are a huge milk drinker, it's going to have that vitamin D in it. But you have to make sure you're balancing it with magnesium. One, because too much milk is going to be constipating, and magnesium is anti-constipating. But the irony is that you'll find magnesium in vegetables, right? And vitamin K is in. There's just not enough vegetables in our kids' diet. Like, I mean, back when we were young, I couldn't leave the table unless I finished my Brussels sprouts, which I actually love now. I don't get what that's about. But yeah, so the vitamin D being low is very common, even if you're getting milk and you're getting tons of sunshine. And the reason why is because if there's not enough vitamin K, and almost everybody's deficient in that, and also magnesium, because we're not stuffing our kids with, and we're not stuffing ourselves with vitamin K, because are you sitting there eating kale all day long?
No, I think we stop at B, C, and D.
The irony is that our soil is so deficient from all the pesticides that there is no minerals that get absorbed into these leafy greens, right?
The amount you have to consume is
Probably
probably
more.
ridiculous. The doctor wanted to give him the B12 shots, and I kind of freaked out because it was the shots, but they were definitely high on B12. I know I've tried that, a little spray under my tongue, and it definitely gets you alert and up. But I didn't go through with it because I just, I think I didn't want to give him shots and make him feel bad. But she swore on it, but he just has so much energy already, so I wasn't sure exactly how the vitamin B would have helped in that situation.
And people have told me to take the B12 shots. It give me so much energy. Like, you're a tired mom, like, take it, And like, I would love to do that.
Well, let's talk about how do you actually get them to take it, because I have struggled with that, and unfortunately it's made me less consistent. I try to make a little shot of it. I try to put a little omega juice in there, a little something, orange juice, apple juice, but then he doesn't drink the whole juice box. So now I've got all these drops of vitamin D, and he's not going to swallow pills yet. He doesn't eat the yogurt. And so how do you do it to where they're going to get it?
So I was going to tell you yogurt, but like, if he's not about the yogurt.
How do you get it to him good? He does eat those like little applesauce packets. Maybe I try to do that. You had mentioned something like that.
Yeah, I used to do that. I eventually got Nolan able to swallow pills. Thank God.
Oh.
He is on so many supplements right now. The lysine and the monolaurin are what I do to try and keep any sort of viral thing at bay. And then vitamin D and vitamin K, essential.
And probiotics. Let's talk poop.
Yes, I would love to talk poop. But one last thing, it would be like the omega-3 fatty acids.
Yes. The dreamsicle one. The barleans.
So good. Barleans, omega-3 fatty acid. Holy cow. So good. It has a lot of different oils in it.
So what I was going to say is that instead of trying to sneak the supplements into his meals, I just put it in a syringe like he takes Tylenol or like he takes anything else medicine-wise. So now I mix it all in a cup, suck it up in a syringe, and I say, okay, medicine. I mean, unfortunately, it's not medicine, but he takes it.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
He takes the medicine syringe better than he would eat a full cup of yogurt or drink a full cup of juice.
And what I do for Nolan is I mix whatever pills he's taking with yogurt, and it's about 2 tablespoons worth, and I just kind of scoop them in one by one, and he swallows them, and I have water there for him to drink, and then but the Barlean's omega-3 fatty acids, that is incredible, because who wants to have the same tasting yogurt every single day when they're eating their supplements? So I'll add that, or I'll add some honey. I'll try to change it up so he's not having the exact same vanilla yogurt. And also what's really great about having yogurt daily is that it's got the probiotics in there. And the probiotics are also doing their job to improve digestion, improve the gut microbiome, which is essential for our kids to have a really good gut microbiome. I'm sure for for people who haven't heard about that, it's so important for neurological function. It's a very foundational thing to have be a good way. And then, and it's interesting because, speaking of gut microbiome, like we could talk about potty training, because potty training is a huge thing, but a lot of things have to be set in a certain way in order for it to go the way it needs to go for our kids. For all of our kids are atypical and typical. So let's dive into a little bit of potty training.
It's interesting because also when, we're trying to get him to learn, because he does like the shows and he does like the scripts. Of course, when we were potty training him, we sure enough turned on the song, "When You Get the Funny Feeling Way Down Low." You just stop what you're doing and go, go, go. I mean, I know it by heart now, but and then there's an app, See Me Go Potty, which I really like, because you get to actually kind of pick the hair color and the eye color and stuff like that and make it look at him. Yeah. And it'll be like, wipe, is it clean? Nope. And we still say that to this day. And he'll be like, nope. It's just called See Me Go Potty. I forget what else.
With the drone.
Yeah, like on-demand topics, because there's so many things that I can tell him a million times. I can tell him till I'm blue in the face, but until he maybe sees it, because he is more visual, or watches it happen, then he's relating it to his life, and then again mimicking those behaviors.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Navigating Neurodiversity. We hope you found a little hope, a little laughter, and a lot of connection.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, please leave us a review. It helps parents like you find our community.
Until next time, remember, you're doing better than you think, and you are never alone on this journey.